Achashverosh had a bit too much to drink at the party, and he sends a messenger to Vashti the queen, "Come in front of the king wearing your crown and nothing but the crown." Chazal tell us that Vashti in fact would have come in stark naked, but for the fact that she suddenly had a skin rash or a tail, machlokas in the Gemara, but the point is she couldn't stand the embarrassment. So instead she sent a blistering letter attacking Achashverosh. "Don't think that you're going to embarrass me. You're not a tenth, you're not a hundredth of who my father or his servants were." When Achashverosh read these words, Vayiksof, he was furious, V'chamaso barabo, and his anger flamed up within him. He asked what to do. The advice was to kill her. In fact, he killed her. Interestingly enough, much later in the story, when Haman is hung, the pasuk says, "V'chamas hamelech shachacha," the anger of the king was forgotten. Explains the Ibn Ezra that until that point, the anger that Achashverosh felt remained within him. The anger that he felt when he was sent that letter from Vashti remained with him until Haman was hung. Only then was that anger dissipated, did it pass from him. And this Ibn Ezra is quite interesting, because in year 3 was the party. Year 12 of Achashverosh's reign was Haman hung, which means for 9 years Achashverosh was angry. Now I'm sure it wasn't a full flaming anger, but at least a subconscious, at least a sort of tick, a sort of upsetness, almost like a low-grade fever was gnawing at him, was bothering him, was troubling him. And this sounds very difficult to understand, because I've gotten angry, I'm sure you've gotten angry, I'll get angry for a day, a week, a month. How can a man be angry for 9 years? 9 years, and after he killed his wife already, he avenged the dishonor. How could he feel this low sense of anger, this constant upsetness, this irritability? And I believe the answer is based on understanding the relationship between arrogance and anger. Do you know who I am? Do you know how important I am? Do you know how big, mighty, weighty, and significant I am? And because I am so big, mighty, weighty, and important, no one in the world appreciates me, no one treats me with the honor due, and my bruised ego is constantly being rubbed. I have a sunburn on my ego because I have an inflated sense of self. Now, if you and I become arrogant, it'll be within limited confines, but this man was a despot. This man was a totalitarian dictator. He could command anything he wanted, and if you violated his will, you were finished. With that sense of power, he got a chance to inflate and become fully buffoon-like in his size. And with that came a constant sense of my honor, the respect due to me. No one possibly could give me enough honor, and people are always discrediting me. Look at that. This person didn't stand up with it fast enough. This one didn't say it properly enough. Constantly he's being bruised, constantly his ego is being rubbed, and constantly he's in a sense of irritability. Anger and arrogance are directly tied to one another, and here we get to see a classic example. Because he was so self-inflated, because he was so egotistical, he was able to have very rough situations happen to him in his life. He was angry, and that anger wouldn't abet, it wouldn't pass, it wouldn't leave him. It remained for years and years and years. And as Chazal tell us, if you'd like to ruin your life, focus, have one bad midah. If you have even one trait that's out of control, you will suffer greatly. Here's an example of a man who has everything: power, prestige, honor, and for 9 years there's a low-grade fever of anger, unhappiness, a sense in that, because this is the relationship between arrogance and anger, and only when a person understands the relationship can he begin working on being more humble, therefore being less angry, and then a person can work on becoming a proper Torah Jew and eventually being a happy individual.